You're about to listen to an episode of Scale Your Sales podcast. It's a conversation I had with Lisa Earl McLeod. We talk around the subject of Black Lives Matters, and Lisa shared her perspective and insights from the US point of view, and I shared mine from the UK. I know you're going to enjoy this episode. Make sure you comment. We love to get your comments. And please subscribe to future episodes of Scale Your Sales.
Welcome to Scale Your Sales podcast. Now, my next guest introduced the philosophy of noble purpose in her best-selling book, Selling with Noble Purpose. Her research documents how organizations with a bigger purpose than money make more money and experience greater customer and employee retention. Her firm's clients include Hootsuite, Roche, Volvo, and Dave & Buster's. Welcome to Scale Your Sales podcast, Lisa Earl McLeod.
Such a pleasure to be with you today.
Who is your hero or shero, Lisa?
Oh, who is my hero or shero? I'm probably going to get emotional when I talk about this. So in my country right now, we are having serious racial issues. The festering wound that we have tried to cover for 400 years has been ripped wide open. It was always open for people of color. It's open for white people now. And I had always been fascinated by Harriet Tubman. And I had watched, I had seen some documentaries on her and read about her, and very popular movie now in my country's movie Harriet. And I have so far watched half of it because it's really painful to watch. But when I think about some of the challenges that I face, and I think about what she did, it makes me think I should be braver. It makes me think that I should be braver about speaking up and speaking out. It makes me think that I should be braver in my own space about saying this and it's nothing compared to what she did, but I think about if she could do what she did with the bravery that she did, I need to start speaking the truth about we've created this transactional business environment that is sucking people's souls away, and it needs to change. And I think if that's all I have to do compared to what she did, so that's an example of someone. I think stories from the past of people like her that really did brave and powerful things for me push me to say what I need to say in my current environment. So,
do you know what I think that, everything we do, all the experiences that we have are good and bad, challenging and not, are meant to mold us and to take us on a journey where we become more enlightened. And we couldn't have done what we can do now 10 years ago, because with a certain skills and things that we needed to pick up in order to gain enlightenment. And it's a continuum, it just continues. And the thing is, it doesn't matter thinking that I wish or I could have or whatever, but you can and you are able to now, because the thing is 10 or 20 years ago, you didn't have the platform that you have now. So the impact that you can have right now is so much more, and social media didn't exist 20, 15 years ago. Right. So not only do you have a platform, but your platform's amplified. So actually it's almost like it's all meant to happen now. All of the lessons that you learned from Harriet Tubman, you probably couldn't have amplified them when you were learning those things, but it all kind of comes together. And I think it's really important, especially with Black Lives Matter, to be quite frank, us as Black people, we know that this has been going on. And the thing is, by having a mobile phone, You know, the evidence is there and it's clear,
Right.
it's undisputed, and it's great. You know, we're all at a kind of pivotal moment where we're all being enlightened, including myself. And, you know, there's lots of things even I could have spoken out about before. And it's not just in America. I can assure you there are some things that lots of people here are just becoming aware of. And,
That's
you know, even today, our government has commissioned somebody to investigate or to look at the inequalities. And in the past, this person that's been put forward to do it has actually denied that there were inequalities. So why is he running this? You know, so there's
not very helpful.
stuff. There is stuff, Lisa, out there, you know, so we've all got our own challenges. You know, any story that gets out in an authentic way, then it's great. There's loads of things I could critique about it, but the fact is, at the end of the day, for a long time, there were not these real, true stories told. You know, in our history, you know, all of the history, especially in the UK, I don't know about American, it's all been whited out. You know, the way it's like we went, we conquered and all of that. But actually, you know, you destroyed, you killed, you maimed, and all of this stuff is not in the... So I celebrate anything that comes to the fore. And, you know, like it's movie companies that are making these, so they have to sanitize it a little bit, or
a little bit,
a lot.
I didn't realize how badly history was taught until I had kids taking history.
Yeah.
I had a unique history teacher, American history teacher in the 11th grade, life-changing history teacher.
Yeah.
Who taught real history. Like I'm sure he didn't get everything, but like we came, we plundered, we killed, like that's what we learned.
Yeah.
And he taught this holistic view. He's like, okay, Thomas Jefferson wrote these amazing words. Thomas Jefferson raped his slave. Okay, that's who we're dealing with here. And I just thought everybody knew that until my kids started taking history. And I was like, why aren't they telling you this?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm in a little bubble,
Yeah.
you know, from 16 on, just thinking, well, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's dangerous because, you know, you have people on at the moment in the UK, so you may not have seen that they tore down some statues.
I did see that.
Yeah, you did see that. So then you have the National Front, or, you know, the kind of nationalists, people that are protecting monuments and things like that, but they don't know the history of the person at all. They only know the one side, but they don't know the other side, but they're protecting the monument. It's like, get educated first and then make a decision about these things, really.
It's, well, like in my country, the monuments they're protecting, you know, we had a civil war in my country, and it was over slavery, and the people that wanted slavery lost. And those monuments went up as intimidation factors. They went up 50 years after that war to intimidate people of color. And the thing is, I just, this baffles my mind, because I'm thinking, find another country where people took up arms against their country, lost, took up arms on behalf of holding people in bondage, lost, and then put up a statue to them? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, crazy.
One of my daughter's friends put something on Facebook. She says, all of you who say taking down the statues will mean erasing our history need to be aware there's this really cool thing called history books.
Yeah.
And it's there.
Yeah. And even for us women, it's his story. What about her story? You know, women have been completely written out, all of the inventions and the incredible things they've done, you know, so women growing up don't realize that this great fabric of role models that have been written out of history.
Well, and one of the things this amazing history teacher, who was a white man, taught is, he said, well, a lot of people don't know Abigail Adams, who was a famous wife of one of our early presidents, she influenced her husband this way, and a lot of people don't know that so-and-so did that. Like, he like brought in these stories. I had no idea that I was in this unique, you know, environment, and it wasn't everything, but it was enough.
Yeah, it was enough to make you curious to look behind the story and continue to do that in
Right.
your life. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I just feel like, I think there's a spiritual element to this. And when you were saying, we're all at the right place and everything matters, I don't want to wish suffering on people.
Mm.
But I also think that the fact that in my country, at least, the George Floyd, who was the impetus
Yeah.
for this, it happened while all these men were at home with their wives and children, not on the road, not doing sports, not going back to the office with the buddies. And I think they processed it completely
Yeah,
different.
that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so
many more people saw it. Yeah.
they're having to watch, there no sports to watch, nothing to distract you, can't go to the office and go, oh, let's do our thing. You're having to watch it with a woman in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
or with your kids,
Yeah.
explain to your kids.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. Great point.
Very, very different. And so I think I like to think we would have had a response anyway. But they also, all these leaders, I've been on so many calls where they're saying, you need to be empathetic, you need to be empathetic. And they've been thinking about that. And then this thing lands.
Yeah.
Totally different response than it would have been if it had been this fall.
Yeah. I mean, actually, and that has happened not once, like last year or the year before, and it didn't land in the same way. So I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
It was so egregious.
Yeah.
So clear. Him calling for his mother, that just touched everybody, and then it happened in this environment when we've all been thinking, who am I and why am I here?
Yeah. Great point.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
On behalf of America.
In a year, and we'll see how much of this has changed.
On behalf of all Americans, let me just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not just America, Lisa, it's here as well. And the great thing is we actually don't need the government, we don't need institutions,
right.
Because actually people ourselves, because of where we are now and the platforms we have and social media, we all have a voice and we all have a platform. And I think that's what makes it so much more exciting than it, that we don't need the government to do it.
You don't have to go through these filters. And I think, when you asked me this question, for the viewers, we did a pre-interview and I had a different answer to this question a month ago than I did today. And I think I want to connect these things with speaking your truth and having a sense of purpose about your life. When you asked me a couple of weeks ago who one of my heroes was, I thought about business because it's a business conversation. And my dad was a great business mentor to me, and that was how I answered the question back then. But I think this is connected because we've all had situations in our life where we felt like, is this all there is? Like in business, people are thinking we have widespread employee disengagement. And part of the reason we have it is because people feel like I'm just a cog in a machine and I'm having trouble getting excited about that. My God, Harriet Tubman freed slaves. And what am I doing? I'm a cog in a machine, And so it's the business machine has in many ways stripped away the humanness. And what I believe is I actually believe that the business machine is the vehicle to put it back, because business has a financial incentive to humanize customers, to bring diverse people together. Business has, if I ran a business with all white men, there'd be very little innovation because they all think the same, and so I think about business has an incentive to get this right. So my hope is, and what I'm seeing in my country is I'm seeing a lot of businesses really step up into this land of noble purpose and saying, oh no, we're not here just to make money. We're here to make a difference.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Well, I think that we can only amplify that message, and then
yeah, it needs to be more than hope. It needs to be act.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You know, we're all on our own journey, but I do think you're absolutely right that it is actually, we're on a pivotal point and it's quite exciting. And, you know, like you, I'm really positive about the changes that will come. And I think it's really interesting what you say about it's actually business. It has the opportunity to really kind of make a difference. But also not losing sight of each one of us as individual has that opportunity as well. Wonderful.
Well, and that's why I go back to sales and my belief that sales is a noble profession, because it's really only in sales that you have an economic incentive to reach out, understand another person, understand their point of view, and show empathy. There's a clear economic incentive to do that in sales. And so when we all sort of have our lane, I think my contribution to the world is if I can create the most empathetic, the most customer driven group of salespeople that the world has ever seen, that becomes a bridge. That becomes a bridge of understanding. And when those salespeople go out in the world and they call on people from different cultures, they bring that intelligence back to their company. That's how that is one way we start to understand each other. Because I've been amazed at some of our clients. You mentioned Hootsuite. They have customers all over the world, and they are focused on understanding what those people want their message to be, who they are, how to get that out. And when I look at this global diverse team dedicated to customers around the world, I think that's a good place to start, at least in my world.
In our world, darling.
Yeah, of sales. Bloom where you're planted. So that's where we are. We're going to work with it.
So Lisa, how can listeners get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is Google Noble Purpose, and our website will come up. And one thing that we've got new on our website that I think people will like, if you Google Noble Purpose, you'll find us. Go to our homepage, and there's a couple videos on there of companies that have transformed their organizations in terms of they've grown revenue, they have had highly engaged workforces, they're winning awards in their industries, and they're right on that homepage. And they're a diverse group of companies. There's a bank, a concrete company, and a travel, somebody in the travel business. And I think if people are wondering, would this be helpful to me? Go to our website, Google Noble Purpose. That's the easiest thing to remember. You'll find us and watch those videos and say, do I want this for my company? And that's probably the thing that would be most helpful for people.
Brilliant. Lovely. And I look forward to reading the second edition of your book, because you know, did I say I'm your number one fan?
You did say that, and I loved it. And you could say it again, so that's awesome.
Thank you for being a guest on Scale Your Sales podcast, Lisa.
Such a pleasure.
We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed our conversation a lot.
Yeah.